what's up? What's the good word? Instagram. Play a little DMX. In the honor of our man. What's going on? Yo, what's it? What's good? How we doing? What's up? Yo, what's the good word? I was just skateboarding. I must have hit a fly and hit my eye. I can't see. I have corona clap. I'm gonna die now. It's probably antiqueefs. The antiqueefs are in my eye. They invaded my eye. Oh my word. Yo, what's the good word? What's going on? What's up, Andresen? How you doing? What's the good word? How you doing? Pass the Parmesan. Legalize Parmesan. Legalize Parm. Can you fill me in on DMX? Apparently, DMX may or may not have gotten the Corona clap juice, and now he's disposed. Maybe it was a drug thing. We don't know. There's a lot of articles about it on the Gagal, so just hit the Gagal, and you can find out the truth. Try out the facts. I was a huge DMX fan growing up, so I've been listening to DMX on Spotify for the last couple days. Give some of that royalty money to his 15 children. 15 children. Yo, DMX. Anyhow, yo, thanks for being here, Antiqueefs in the building. I hope there's a couple queefs in here. What's up, Canada? How's it going? Yo, so the purpose of today's live stream is I wanted to get on and jam with Kit Cunningham. I'm gonna invite him on in just a second. I got a bunch of messages from people saying you got a link with this dude. He had commented on a conversation that I had with David Nino about Donnie being in a pineapple under the sea, running the entire world. So I figured it might be an interesting chat for us to come on here and just jam for a bit. So thanks for being here, appreciate you, and I'm gonna let him in here. What's up, Canada? I wish I could play DMX the whole time. Yo,
what's going on?
How you doing? How are we?
I'm good. Let me wait for my screen to pop up because it's still black. All right, here we go. Now we're on. Now we're going on. I'm on live with here we go. Biden Basement Slayer over here. How you doing?
the Lord of Joey Basement and nicknames galore. That's my game.
See, I messed up because initially when I first started, I would always just go ham and I would just say everything and anybody. And then once when I've been watching for a little while now, I remember a long time ago, they're like, "Oh, do you follow Takenaps?" I said, "Yeah, this dude's hilarious." And I messed up by just going, you know what, screw this, screw that, him that, this, that. And then now, I had to go through the shadow ban. Now I'm banned for 3 months. This has been my third month being banned. So I have to rely on other people to go live for me to go live. And I've been still waiting. It's 3 months now, still says temporary, and I'm just still waiting. So wow. I'm going to take your advice, and I'm going to start using code words.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'm an internet guy. I've been building websites since I was 13 years old, and I understand that because there's millions of people and things happening in real time, I realize that, like, words are going to tie to other words, and that's going to end up removing your reach and ultimately getting you clout. I remember at the very beginning of the selection, I call it the cheese selection, I wrote like all the words in a description on a post. It was like polling place, Basement's real last name, Donnie, like the whole jam, and my post got like destroyed. And it was right at that point where I'm like, I'm gonna have to come up with nicknames for everything all the way through this, or I'm gonna get clapped.
Well, it looks like it because you are internet based. I see your Batman caveman, Batcave down there with all the electronics. Yeah, I see that. So I need to take notes from you.
That 3-monitor computer is just the backup in case the computer in front of me fails.
Wow.
I have 4 screens in front of me right now.
They are not kidding. They are not kidding when they said that you had a Batcave.
I'm a web developer, like in my business, it's like if I go down for a couple of days, the amount of time it would take me to buy a new computer and get everything up and running, it's like I would lose $1,000 or something. So it's worth having one literally just sitting there. I used to have a full-time employee that used it, and now it's just the backup in case everything goes awry. So.
I just want to let you know that, when you go on your tangents, I have to turn off my TV just to watch you sometimes because you go on your tangents and it's freaking hilarious. It's freaking hilarious.
Nice, man. Thank you. Yeah, I really go after it. When I really get cooking, I turn the stand-up desk on and I just start shucking and jiving. I'm moving, I'm bipping and bopping. It's a good time.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know who did recommend you, but I appreciate them. I appreciate you. So yeah, I did see your live, and I really wanted to comment on that because I've been saying this for a while now, and I feel like people aren't really listening. That when it comes to the queefs, right? The queefs. Can I say
Queeps.
queefs? Okay,
Yeah,
got
the
it. The
Queep
queefs.
17, the Queep 17.
Yes, yes. Queef 17, number 17 queefs. Got it. Now, now for all intents and purposes, I've been saying, there's been a movement before. What's Don, the Don, right? The Don.
Donnie, yeah, Donnie.
There's a Donnie before the Queefs, right? You remember Occupy? Remember Occupy?
Yep, yep. In New
Remember
York, you mean?
yes, remember
Yep,
the Tea Party, right?
yep,
And so remember Anonymous? Remember that?
yeah.
So, we all want to believe in something, and I feel like, after everything that we've seen so far, now I think it's safe to say that the queefs are being used to derail what we're trying to do. I truly believe that. I truly
Agreed.
believe that they did have great intentions. They probably could have been good at first. They changed and maybe went bad. Maybe it was always bad. Maybe someone took over the queefs. Maybe it was always the intention of the queefs, right? Uh,
Someone infiltrated the Queeps, yeah.
yeah, someone infiltrated the queefs, exactly. I love using these terminologies. I'm gonna start doing this. And so I think it's safe to say that now we know and we have to move away from it. And that's why I love when you're always talking about trust the plan, bro, right? Because like we all wanted to believe it, but moving forward, now I know that whatever we do and say now is going to be determined as the queefs. As in, if we talk
Yeah,
about things about, corruption, things about trafficking, just these key issues that they don't want us to talk about, it's going to be, well, that's just a queef thing. It's a queef thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's an easy way to just dismiss all of the things that are true. But
Mhm.
the thing that bothers me is that it's like when people just take a bunch of very complicated issues and probably 10% of it is true and 20% of it could be true, but then the other 70% is just pretty much not, and you're pretty much just like grabbing at straws. It makes the 10 and 20% completely irrelevant, and it makes it so that
Exactly.
everybody could just be like, it's queefs, like don't pay attention, it's queefs, and it just ruins. I think it just ruins the whole point. And one thing that I always talk about is like, can we just focus on the things that we can objectively validate and then move forward in those areas? It's like Joey Basement is like taking guns away. It's like these rules are happening right now with diapers on planes and diapers on the
Yeah.
bus and diapers at the store and lockdown for this. It's like these are things that are really happening that we can all see. And the more time that we talk about like Donnie and a pineapple under the sea saving us, or there being or somebody's like drinking blood in a labyrinth somewhere, and I know who it is. It's like it ruins the whole thing, and then they can make an HBO documentary and make everybody look like an idiot.
And they're already doing it. I mean, I've already seen news and teas talking about it as soon as it already happened, as soon as it was already over and done with. Now it's just like, oh, look at these bad guys that were proven wrong the entire time. So and so moving forward, I really think that we have to just really zone, like you're saying, zero down on the real problems and issues at hand. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We always talk about the 4 year, but we're never talking about the locals in the 2 year. Right now, we're so worried about talking about if he's going to come back. And by all means, I've said it before, I think you said it before, well, I would love it. I mean, we would all be like, oh, let's do it. I'm down. Let's go. But that, like you said, we're more focused on talking about that rather than the 2 year. And then the 2 year is what we need to be, because right now, well, is anybody talking about the 2 year? Is anybody talking about where's the cavalry? Because we need the cavalry.
Exactly.
We need, if they took him out because he had no backup, well, then our mentality is like, okay, well, then who are the people that are going to step up to be the backup? Send the backup in so that maybe next time in 4 years we'll actually have some backup rather than only a couple senators and a couple congressmen that have a spine and the rest of them are, you know, if I can cuss,
Of,
dummies. No,
of
there
course.
you go.
Yeah.
Let's
No. Of
put it
course.
that way.
Yeah. No. That's absolutely right. And see, that's the thing is, 2 years is really starting right now. It
Right
really
now.
already started, and that's the thing that bothers me too. Is like people will be like, "Well, what about the selection? It was spoiled and everything." And I'm like, look, it seems to me like it was. I think objectively, we can see how it was. I think that there's more than enough evidence to suggest to us that, yeah, that probably is the case. However, now they're putting in laws that are going to make it easier to just not even have to do that. They're not even going to have to. They're not even have to do it. And there's bills that are coming up right now that it's like, well, we need to oppose this. If we just believe that they can take every selection forever, all right, then yeah, then we already lost. Then this is China 2.0. America's gone, and we might as well, we're done. And then we can just hope and pray for Donnie to come on a Black Hawk with Pompeo and save everybody. But I don't know. It's like, it just seems to me like, maybe they just got away with that one time. I really don't know. Was it the perfect moment in time? The only thing that we can really do is try to affect the local governments, the municipalities, the state governments, and have people like Ron DeSantis that does maybe not everything right, but most things right, and fight the battles that we can objectively win in the short term, and then gear up for what inevitably could happen in 2 years, and then what could hopefully happen in 4. That's what I think is interesting about your content, is like, you're like, hey, who are you going and talking to your local, your local government? Are you going and running? Are you going to go and like, are you figuring out what to do in your state? I think that's a spot on thing that you do that is important. That everyone's just like, no, wait, just like wait in your cave, and Donnie will come on the Black Hawk, and we'll all be rescued.
No, because I say this, I've said it so many times, and I'll say it to people are blue in the ear. He ran because he believed in us. Just period. We all know that. So he's going to lose billions of dollars, and I think last time I checked, he went down 300 points on the billionaire scope. Like he was up here and went like 300 points down just because he lost billions. Yep. Boycotting his hotels, his businesses during it, the tax. I mean, just so much stuff behind. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do now? When are we believe in ourselves? When do we the people believe in ourselves? Because again, it's not about no one person. It's about we the people at the end of the day. He gave us the courage. He gave us the motivation. He gave us a movement. And when I keep talking about the previous things that happened prior, it was so many different aspects. It was conservatives. It was libertarians. It was just classical liberals, you know what I mean, in a sense, that, were a part of the Tea Party, were a part of the Occupy Wall Street. And then as it came up to develop, someone came in and said, here's a hat, here's an umbrella, this is what you are. And then now we all came together and said, wow, we're finally here. We finally have an umbrella or a hat to call ourselves in. And then now it's like, okay, now that we identified it, now that we're all in the group, okay, now what if all of us took over our local cities, states, and et cetera? Well, then we don't have to worry about no one person. Right? Then at that point, we can actually start taking over our local institutions, because you got to remember, when all this happened at first, he had to shut things down because they didn't know what it was. Afterwards, these people in positions had no spine. They didn't back up their cities and states. They got dictated by governors, and governors don't have these recommendations, right? These laws. It's nothing but mandates, or what do you call it? They're very highly pressured suggestions. And all it takes is people with local authority that go, you know what, screw you. That's the same reason why you saw, Donnie. I almost slipped up there. You almost got clapped right now.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. I'm keeping up. So Donnie, he said open up by Easter. And then you notice Cuomo and Newsom. And again, in California, we're here trying to get Newsom out. Is that a code word? No? Okay.
No, he's good. He just sucks.
Yeah, he's a spare game, right? You know how they said, screw you, right? Same reason why Joey Basement says, I'm going to sign an executive order on guns. And the governor of Florida said, screw you, I'm going to sign, the passports. And he said, screw you, I'm signing an executive order saying no passports. Yep. So again, it's just, at this point, it's like, what are we really doing here? We have such an amazing group of people all across, either on social media platforms or here in person, that we can actually make an effect change right now, but we're not focusing on that. We're just really worried about him coming on April.
Exactly. No, it's, and I always say it's counterproductive to the cause. It's counterproductive to progress, because in a lot of ways, it's like, as good as Donnie was, there's a lot of things that he did wrong. And like, there's a lot of mistakes that he made, and the guy is not infallible. And on top of that, he's also about to be, I think he's going to be 78 or 79 years old to come 2024. It's like, maybe we want to put our focus into somebody else. We don't even know if he's going to run. So it's just like, what we also have to remember is that 74 million people at least were able to see through every persuasive a backwards, upside down tactic to convince us that this guy's evil. Objectively looking at him, it's like 24/7 wall-to-wall coverage. This guy is bad. Yet 74 million people still saw past that. It's like, imagine if he wasn't calling Rosie a fat pig, or imagine if he wasn't like kicking him, putting his foot in his mouth all the time. It's like, imagine if he had a little bit more poise, like a Ron DeSantis, for example. It's like, maybe that's somebody to rally behind. Yet if we keep going, if we keep staying on this endless trap of like, just wait. There's like a military underground, upside down, underwater operation. It's like, meanwhile, they're clapping us in real time. Oh, they want to pass this voting bill. They want to take guns. There's a million things that are happening objectively right in front of us that, just like you said, it's like your local governor can do a lot of things. It's the United States of America. The federal government, in a lot of ways, doesn't even have authority over certain things. And that's the type of people that, when you're going after a smaller body of power, we can make more change. It's kind of like if you lived in a neighborhood of 10 houses versus a neighborhood of 1,000 houses. Your local neighborhood authority, you'd have a much bigger pull where there's the 10. But if you could get that 10 to be a group in another cluster, you could get other ones too. And then just like that, you can get change from the bottom. And I think that people forget about that. And they're just looking to, like, if it's not Joey Baseman, if it's not Donnie, then we're screwed. Oh, and by the way, there's a global cabal that's destroying everything, and like, we're dead forever. It's just like, how about we just focus on the things that are literally happening in front of our face? Even just the businesses that force you to wear diapers. Like, maybe we start there.
Yeah, and I shared a video too of how someone was, the healthcare workers came to a restaurant and they're literally trying to storm them out, saying get out, and the whole crowd in the restaurant literally are saying get out. That's the power that we have. We literally have that power, because there's two different aspects to this, and it's based on perception. So like you could say, for instance, like Hollywood tells you one thing, media tells you another thing, right? And then as together, that when they do that, either media and Hollywood, right, movies, entertainment, that's our perception of what reality is, right?
Yeah.
So based on what we're seeing right now, as long as the public keeps wearing masks, and as long as our public officials keep saying to do it, those are the two aspects that we need to tackle. The thing is that we're already doing it on the ground, but we don't have enough local officials saying the same thing, because the person that's brainwashed, right, they're walking through life listening to the media. So they're in their homes and they truly believe this. Us, on the other hand, we research, we look up any type of information that we can and kind of just correct what we can or cannot based on what we hear, what the information is. And so the only way you can get to those people is for them to see, either by public, like authorities, and the public, that it's okay to not take off the mask.
Yeah.
You're considered clowns if you walk around doing it. So we're already doing it on the ground level, but the problem is the other side of the coin, meaning we need to have local officials in positions saying it's okay to not wear it. Then the people on the ground will be like, okay, my public officials said that the numbers are down low. My public officials said that it was really 6%, not the full 500 whatever that did it. Yeah, my public officials said that the majority of people that passed away due to the juice, right, was people overweight, right? Like, if you actually say these things as a public official, then people in the local area go, okay, my leader, right, my elected official, my leader said it, and now it's okay. So that's one side that we're missing. We're constantly in the streets doing what we can, sending out videos without masks or without anything, when it comes to either government offices, restaurants, Targets.
Yep.
We have one more element we're forgetting, and is that being those leaders to tell the public that it's okay to be a leader.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that, like, I'm pretty much convinced at this point that public officials, quote unquote, public servants, are really often not even that at all. And they really just don't have a spine. And a lot of the times what they're doing is just trying to raise their political stock and just color between the lines so that their career as being a politician that travels a predictable ladder up to the top is not in jeopardy. And it's like, these people, they live in government houses, they get government health care, they get high paid. I mean, they have many opportunities and many advantages that go to them as being a supposed public servant. And a lot of them just are spineless. So it's like, we have the power to put in people that won't be, and we have to support and endorse the people that go against that. And that's why people like Ron DeSantis, it makes me so proud to live in Florida that this guy is coming out and saying stuff like that. He came out today and said that he's suing the Joey Baseman administration for the CDC shutting down the cruise line industry. And it's like, yeah, dude. It's like here's a guy that's actually doing something. So if we think that everything is just over and without Donnie we're toast, it's like, well, what about DeSantis? And I mean, and Kristi Noem has done a lot of good things, and there's a lot of good people that are in there. It's just that unless we can raise awareness to people that you have to be paying attention to this, and we have to objectively look at the things that are happening right in front of us and in our local communities, then we're really toast. All it's going to take, like you said, is like if one city opens up in that way, people are going to start coming to that city, and then the money is going to go from that city to the nearby city, and just like that, people are going to need to open up because of the financial impact. So the diapers is like such a perfect example. Like if there was a grocery store here in town that was no diaper, I think I would go there exclusively, even if I had to travel further to get there. But it's like no one wants to be on what they think is the wrong side. Everybody's so afraid of the confrontation, and it's tragic because there's so much human suffering that's happening as a result of this.
And I do the same. I do the exact same thing you just said. I literally go to the same 7-Elevens, grocery stores, liquor stores, everything that I know that I don't have to wear a mask. I go strictly to them every single time. I don't go to nobody else. I find out who they are. I have the same 3-4 different areas that I know, and that's exactly where I go to. So again, the free market, free enterprise will correct itself. And no one wants to wear this stuff. No one wants to. And then for instance, like when people always talk bad about California, which again, California has a lot of problems. We all know that. I'm happy to admit that. It's just like all the people that are leaving to go to Florida or whatnot. See, the free market corrects itself. And then if for some reason California flipped red, then everybody would want to come back to the shining state. It's just one of those things. Like if California did the same thing Florida's doing, I mean, we're like what, the 4th biggest economy? I forget last time I checked. I mean, industry would come back roaring, But it's just the fact that liberal ideologies, high taxes, and stupid liberals that actually want to keep wearing the diapers, per se. And so, but we got word that it's a big rumor right now, but people in California are tending to believe it, that Rick Renell is going to run.
I've heard that as well. You had mentioned that earlier. What's the prospect? I also heard that Caitlyn Jenner is thinking about running.
I said, no, never in life. Over my dead body. But trust me, I know a lot of people out here. We will definitely fight tooth and nail for that one. That will not happen. That's not happen.
What do you think about Major Williams?
He's a cool guy. I'm not going to put my support on any. I've been in politics for like 10 years, so I know how this stuff works. I'm not going to sit here and endorse one specific candidate without the recall being put out, with everybody that's running, know who's running, see if they go back and forth politically, debating what the dirt comes out. I'm not going to say anything until, you know what I mean? Until time comes. But for the most part, like I know Major. I know Major personally. I'm always at events. Like here in Southern California, you run into the same people whenever you go to events and things like that. So I've gone to dinner with him. I've gone to a lot of events with him.
Nice.
So like him as a person, if you want to talk about Major as a person, I think he's a good guy. I think he's a genuine guy. I think he's really cool. He talks to you as a person. He's on the ground. Almost every event I go to, he's there. So that's awesome. Yeah, and like I'm dedicated. So like when I'm, you're here again? Like wow, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, as of supporting the candidate right now, I can't say who I am or am not going to support, because you never know how these things are. Hey, you never know. Maybe Donnie comes up and wants to run for California. You never know.
Yeah, he could. He'll drive a submarine right into the bay, and he'll pop out and say he's running for governor of California.
Hey, we did have a lot of Chinese, things going on the coast, so maybe he might come over here and hold it down for us. You don't know. So at the end of the day. And then A-Rod, he's messing with me right now. He said kick for governor. Leave me alone, A-Rod. A-Rod loves to mess with me on lives. But nice. Yeah, so for the most part, yeah, he seems like a cool guy. But Rick Renell, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. He's hinting at it in CPAC. A lot of people here with the recall effort talking about him.
Yep.
So it looks like something's happening there. And if you run,
that's awesome.
It's a game changer. So.
That's awesome. How do you think that the recall process is going to play out? I live in Florida, obviously, so I've only been to California once or twice this year, so I'm not at the pulse. How do you think all that's going to end up playing out? I know that this guy is like makes a fool of himself every time he gets on TV. I mean, I can't understand how any person can look at Newsom and look at his facial expressions, followed up by his actions, but just the way that the guy acts, and think that this guy is a good representative for the state of California. I can't even imagine how people even think that to be true. What kind of feeling do you get about how that's going to go and that whole process?
Well, I've been with the I'm not with the actual group, but I've been to so many events where they're always there, and I'm always helping like on the side note. But last time I think we were at the Capitol in San Francisco, so I went out there to make a speech, and I got to meet the guy that actually is doing the recall effort, and just based on this whole entire year, the momentum that people have, people literally want to sign us up. If people say gruesome, I don't call him gruesome. I call him the American Psycho because he literally looks like the American Psycho. Like if you see the video, watch the movie, compare him to him, it is him. Like he was a part of that movie. Great casting.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, right. It's
Yeah.
pretty much the American Psycho.
Governor
Uh,
Gaslight. That's what I call him. Governor Gaslight, the heavily lacquered sun god of San Francisco. That's another one I call him.
that's good. That's good. So I'm sticking with American Psycho. I'm never going away with that one. Um, but Yeah, so the finalization, a lot of people thought that it was finalized already, but no, it's not finalized because the effort, the recall effort, they had a third party verify them, and it's already verified. Now the state's verifying them. I think it's like April 29th.
Nice.
And so with that, I mean, we've done a really good job as to from the people in the grassroots movement, and some of them are here on here. I see you, Jay, Sabrina. I see you guys. Um, we've been trying our very hardest to help with this effort, and then right now we're waiting for the announcement. And when 29th rolls around, they say, "Hey, it's verified." Yes, that's the reason why that they wanted at least 2 million, because they know that there's going to be verification and all that stuff.
Sure.
Once we get the announcement, then a lot of us are going to try to get the next events towards vote yes on the California vote, right? Because
Yep.
now that it's over and done with, he wants to open it back up, but we don't want to let him go, right? We don't want him to start looking better and better as the vote comes.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep going on events and at least once a month from the announcement of the 29th. If you've seen, like we do a lot of events from 29th all the way to the vote, which should be like around November, October-ish, depends on when they actually announce it. And then continue to remind people what he's done while he
Yeah.
tries to reopen the thing. So that's one thing that I'm working on with Sabrina. If you're still here, I see you, Sabrina. And then after that, he's pushing for mail-in. So we already know what mail-in does.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect, right? Like we can't catch a break. But I think there's some polls coming up from 60 to 70% of people that want him out. I mean, if you guys look at the
Nice.
numbers, mostly Democrats are the ones that want him out.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I can't imagine anybody that has children would want him to stay, considering that. I mean, aren't the schools majority still closed there?
Yeah, yes. And
That's,
we just got movie theaters back.
wow.
Saying thank you. Oh, thank you so much that we can go to a movie theater, And everybody's like, let's go to the movie theaters. We haven't and I'm just like, he's giving you guys a little bit so that you guys don't recall him. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If this recall never would have happened, he wouldn't be doing this. But he wants to open up. I mean, they try to close down the beaches for God's sakes.
Last year on July 4th here in Florida, we couldn't go in the ocean. My parents have a condo. My parents have a condo where it's like it's not considered a public beach. It's like the beach leading up to the building. And like all the people were sitting on the beach, kind of like all clustered there. And the public beach was like, you can't go. And these guys were riding on four-wheelers up and down the sand. And like as soon as they got maybe like 500 yards away, a bunch of people would like run out and swim real quick and then bomb back up. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like I don't even understand how this makes any sense. And it was July 4th on the beach, and you can't swim in the ocean. It's like this is a hellscape. Like I don't even understand. Like I just saw today in Canada, starting, I believe today, that they shut down. They're doing a 4-week lockdown in Ontario, and the grocery stores can't sell anything but grocery items or I believe pharmaceutical products. So you can buy like candy and soda and gum and a bunch of bullshit that's bad for you, but you can't buy like a pot or a pan or silverware or anything that's not an essential item. It's like, this is happening in Ontario right now. And it's just like,
Wow.
and not only that, the travel restrictions in Canada. You fly into Canada and you have to go into a mandatory quarantine, whether you have any symptoms or not, whether you test positive or not. You have to pay thousands of dollars to do so. And it's like, we're in like the freest place there is, and it's this bad here. The rest of the world is never gonna get any of their freedom back unless we kind of start that snowball. So it's like, even beyond just the obligation to ourselves, our families, the future of America, and just America as it is, the rest of the world is getting clapped way even worse than us. And this is just such a tragic, just such a tragic thing. It blows on every day. I feel like it's Groundhog Day, being like, doesn't this suck? This is garbage. But it just kills me that people, like, to go back to the original point, that people are like, don't worry, like, there's a military operation. It's like, no, dude, no. This is never going to change unless all of us are consistently talking about this. And again, with your point about Newsom as it gets closer to the election, it's like, we can't let people forget about what happened. You can't forget about the 12 months that kids didn't get to go to school, and all of that mental anguish that they're getting, and all of the hospitalizations from child abuse and any variety of things. It's like, the only way for people to remember that stuff is to keep it in the conversation up until then, because by then it's like, it's summertime, everybody's shucking and jiving, they can go watch a movie, but you know how quickly people forget about how horrible this is and was.
So you're right, and that's what we need to do here in California. But I just hope that everybody takes this, that watching this right now, that this is something that you could do in your own local state. Nothing's stopping you. And I you're saying like 3D undimensional chess, like, forgot it. Like, I wish it's happening. I really do. Like, I'm praying it's happening. Okay. But again, I think you're on the same page, and that's why I like that live, because I think we need to just focus on, notice that the queefs are going to disrail us, right? It's going to mess up our own way, our own movement, our own voice, our own way forward. So just know that, move forward from that, put it to the back burner for now, and focus on what we can do, because 2022 is around the corner. That
Right.
being said, I feel like now we're all under the same synopsis that perception is really everything. And so we have to understand, and I've said this before, that before the Overton window is a term in which that it's everything that's acceptable with perception when it comes to people, the population, when it comes to either politics or whatever. And within that box, it's everything that's acceptable that the system tells you is acceptable. So this box right here. And then you can easily move it back and forth. So things outside of the box seem unacceptable, right? And so I feel like when we talk about the radical left, right, we're starting to accept it to be normal that there's a border wide open, right? Because it's moving so far now to a point where it's moving so far to the left, people that are classical liberals tend to fall in our section now at this point. Those classical liberals are like, I don't want a border open, you know what I mean? Or I don't want this or that. And then we're all kind of in the same boat, and we're like, yeah, we've been telling you this for a while. So with that being said, I really want people to understand that when it comes to the perception of what, we can't be comfortable anymore. You know what I mean? It's gone so far radical left that it's now about action right now, because we understand that loving the flag and the country is considered racist. That's how far radical left we've gone. So now we're sitting outside the box saying, how is this possible? How is loving your country racist? Well, because perception is everything, and they moved the Overton window so far that way. So now we have to be uncomfortable enough to take action and put us back into that box. And I just wanted to say that, because that's one of the things that really people need to understand.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think that I think that the vast majority of people, including even me years ago, it's like, you feel like you can't really affect it in any way, and you feel like it's dominated by people of power that can control it no matter what, and it's always going to be corrupt absolutely forever, and we have no voice no matter what. And then all of a sudden, when Donnie got elected, I remember thinking to myself, this is the exact opposite, for the most part, of what the theys would want. Here's this guy shaking it all up. If that's not an indicator that, hey, maybe it's not as far gone as we thought, and we can actually maybe turn things around, and now you have people like Ron DeSantis again to keep bringing him up. It's like, there is hope there, and there is a lot of good left. It's just that we all have to realize that consistent and constant participation in the betterment of this is kind of like if there was 50 of us playing tug of war and 50 people playing tug of war. If one person goes, we're not all going to fall into the water in the middle or fall over the line. But if it's one, and then it's two, and then it's three, it's just the rope starts inching to the other side, and before you know it, you collapse. It's like we have to constantly be pulling on it. And as much as I feel like it's frustrating and annoying and not something that we want to spend our, like you and I probably want to be watching Family Guy right now. We don't want to talk about how Newsom sucks, but
Yeah.
we feel like an obligation because it's just like, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? If nobody says anything, then we're toast. Then nobody's holding that rope, and they can just pull us right off the cliff, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. And I remember feeling so frustrated as a younger man in my 20s, being like, wait a second, it's 2008. What, the banks are corrupt? They just destroyed everybody's home? I can't get a job? College is inflated? The world is trash, and here I am stuck in this? I remember looking at people in the generations above me and being like, what were you guys doing the last, like, 20 years? Like, what did you do? And I think that in order to avoid that being the next generation looking up at us, not only just for that reason, but it's like, we have to be constantly fighting this. Honestly, in the same way that I feel like about going to the gym. I use this example all the time. It's like, you need to go to the gym pretty much for the remainder of your life. You have to exercise until you die. It's not like, all right, I'm fit now, or all right, I'm good. It's like you have to constantly be making this part of your habit, something that even if you maybe don't want to do, you find fun in it. You find a way for it to be fulfilling in other ways, like I'm getting stronger, I'm getting healthier, maybe I meet new friends there, or whatever is the case. I feel the improvement. And also, I know I'm preserving myself. I feel like political discussion and these types of things has to be as habitual as going to the gym. It has to be something that we find, even though it may not be great, we must do it. It's our duty to do it. Otherwise, we're always one generation from losing it. I think it was Ronald Reagan that said that. It's like you're one generation away from a country being socialist. And if it's not us, then who's it supposed to be? Because my parents' generation, the people that are 65, 70 years old, they're chilling, and they deserve to be chilling. So who is it? It's the people that are not in their 20s jamming. It's people that are 30 to 50 years old that really need to rip, and then people that are from 50 to 60 that need to use all of their experience and the encouragement and strength and energy of all those younger folks to control this operation and turn it back around, because that's the core of all the people that are running this stuff. And in theory, that is us. It's like, that's how I feel about it. It's like a duty. This is the going to war that I never did. This is the army service that I never did. And not that I'm even comparable to them, but it's like, to think that I'm inconvenienced by paying attention and talking about it seems like the least I could do.
Yeah, no, you made a great point, because you have to think about it this way. This is the best time to act, because people understand. People are now awake. People are, like I said, the Overton windows move so far left that we got independents, classical liberals, and conservatives, all libertarians, all are in the same boat with us. The time now is attack now. It's not like some 2000 and Obama's first term where everybody was just la la, look at this and let's go back to sleep. No, it's not.
Yep.
It's like the world's on fire. The ball game last year that got stolen, when the ref came up and said, look at this, look at the numbers, and then all of a sudden it changed and you walked out and he was like, fourth quarter, sorry, you lost. And like, well, we thought we won. What are you talking about? Yeah, all these things are coming into play and people are fired up and ready. So this is the time. And you're saying that you feel like it's like working out, right? Where you always have to work out to the end of time.
Yep.
You're 100% right, because since the beginning of time, one caveman wanted to enslave another caveman. It's like a contest. It's always going to be there since the beginning of time. It's going to be there to the end of time. Even the book says, the book of Revelations talks about enslaving humanity. It's a spirit. It's a willingness to be free and alive. It's within us. It's how you feel. It's how we feel. It's how we all come up and we're so passionate about just living life, is because it's in us. It's in all of us. And it's never going to stop. It's always going to be a constant battle. That's where you get the good and evil, right? And I don't want to get into the Bible, but that's kind of where it comes from. He wants to enslave. Yep. He wants to keep you free. It's there, and it's always going to be there. The problem is that, are we going to rise up to the task? Because you're saying, well, I want to do my civil duty like as if you're serving your country. Well, I've said this before. Yeah, it is serving our country, because
right.
It's a different type of war. Back then in war, they would draft you because they needed you. Now it's not tanks, it's not military, it's not guns, it's mental. It's a diaper to show you complicity, to show you that you're a slave under a medical dictatorship. So
Yep.
that means us mentally have to recruit ourselves. No government's going to recruit us. We have to now understand that we, the people, now have to recruit ourselves and say that it's a duty to do something about it and then act. And that's how I feel 110%, that it's just a different type of war. It's a mental war, not a physical.
Yep. No, exactly. And that's the thing. Such is the challenge is because, and I've said it a bunch of times on my lives, 200 years ago, war was I wear a bright red jacket, we line up in a row, and we plow forward, and people just can pick you off. And then they realized they could just sit off to the side, they could hide behind a rock. And then all of a sudden, war changes. And then it's planes, and then it's the game shifts. And just like you said, it's an information war, it's a mental game. And it's like, well, if I know that America has all the military might, and if I know that they have 5 times the military budget as every other country in the world, how do you defeat them? And just like that, in the same way we do in life, it's like, I got a fortress up, I'm good. Let me just keep an eye on the front door. No one's going to fuck with me. I got it protected. Meanwhile, they're figuring out ways to sneak it. There's a drone that came over. There's a tunnel underneath. There's always another way. The battle rages on forever. So they know that they're not going to win via military might. They're only going to win through mental. It's like, how do we infect the population and get a disease from the center in? And I don't even mean the disease like the corona clap. Maybe that's the case. It certainly seems like it is, but I don't even mean that. I mean the mental disease of getting people to beg for their freedom to be taken away, to get people to march in the street to take their own freedom away. What a great attack, these bastards. Like, they really found a way to get us to burn from the inside out. It's like, first get them to fight against each other, infiltrate their mind with lies, buy up a lot of the media companies, make the media companies beholden to some outside source via money, like the NBA. Well, why can't the NBA talk about Hong Kong? Well, you got the country with the red flag that doesn't want you talking about that. Oh, you don't want us to pay you out? You're tapped. Right. And things like, and I think about other things like how the vast majority of commercials on television are pharmaceutical companies. And it's like, well,
Wonder why.
it's like, that's so interesting. It happens. Oh, and who else has the commercials on TV? Taco Bell, Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, all of the worst possible things that we could have run all the advertising. It makes perfect sense that all of those people and all of those companies are beholden financially to these overlords. That's how they do it. They make you financially dependent, and then they threaten the taking of it away. I don't have to tell you what to do if I just suggest to you that if you step on the wrong thing, I'll pull my money away. And I feel like that's the exact same thing that they're doing now to the people through the federal government. It's like, well, we're going to give you a stipend. We're going to give you a stimmy. We're going to rescue you every time you don't have a job. We're going to make it so you don't have to pay your rent. We're going to make it so you don't have to pay your college. We're going to make it so everybody gets universal basic income. It's fair. It's equitable. We're going to balance the playing field. Well, what happens when that runs out? If you get a stimmy now and all these unemployment benefits now, and then some other issue comes, or even if it doesn't, they're just going to stop paying people? Now you're beholden to them. Now you have to beg for more of it. Well, we can't do it because the silly Republicans won't pass this bill. So then people line up and they're just like, pay me, I need it. That dependency. The same way that these other countries, our adversaries, are creating financial dependency is exactly what they're now getting the federal government to do to the people. So it's like, and they run them too. That's the whole thing. It's like, they got it so far, and I feel like the vast majority of people, though very awake and very aware, like our 74 million people, still don't understand how pervasive they already are in, and how behind the walls they already are, and that it's like it's kind of like you can't really wait anymore. It's like you got diapers, you got UBI, you got people not paying rent, you got money being spent into oblivion. It's like, how far do they have to go before we're like, all right, now I'll do something.
Yeah, and now you'll do something after it's already over and done with. Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone just commented, highest taxes increase in history. Like so. And when you're talking about that, here's something where I've thought about, because remember back in the 1913, 1910, whatnot, the Federal Reserve was passed, right? And in essence, there wasn't enough congressmen there. It was during Christmas, got snuck in. Only Only 20 years later, we had the Great Depression. When the Great Depression came and these banks financed the world wars, right? They were on both sides. The first excuse was with the first war was like, well, we need a League of Nations. And then it didn't work out. A lot of nation states backed out because they understood national sovereignty, right? Then World War II happened, right? And the bad guy, that did all those bad things to the Jews. His main objective was to create a European Union. That was one of his things. He was doing it by conquest. And so the banks actually started funding, and during the times, he was in the times as a good guy in the United States and all that stuff. But during that time, it was the birth of two things. It was Marxists and socialists. And socialists believed in strategic, one at a time, generation, boiling the pot. Well, this guy said, screw it, I'm just going to take over everything. You know what I mean? But whatever happened to those people? A lot of people don't realize what happened to them. No, they're still here. They're still doing it in increments. So when you're saying, well, we have the masks. Well, we have medical tyranny. Yeah, they've been scientifically, they've been studying this for years. People have to realize that. You don't think there's Harvard Review, what do you call it? Social engineers that they don't pay to strategize this stuff over?
1,000%.
Exactly. That's why when we talk about, I don't want to get clapped, but the lock, what do you call it? The document, the lock, when you do this, lock and then you walk, lock walk, you know what I'm talking about, right?
The lock walk.
Lock step. John Hopkins. Okay, so it came out of Johns Hopkins University, and the Gates,
Oh,
the
yeah.
the Juice guys, they made the document, and it's like they use the John Hopkins University to do assessments on real life.
Oh, yeah.
Things would play out. I mean, these things are public. Like, you can easily look them up. You can easily read it. So to say here and say that, during the course of history, these people that believe in centralized control aren't literally map gaming, playing all this out. Of course they are. And they finally made a move, and they understand it's a medical tyranny. That's the best part to do it. Because in essence, we have fear. As human society, we have fear. And as long as we continue the fear and be fearful of the situation, the more and more we are more complacent to comply. So again, it goes right back to, how do we wake those people up? And the thing is the public and the leaders, so-called leaders, the representatives. Because if those two say no, then the perception of the so-called, flu, right? The virus, it dissipates, because we already know the numbers. We just have to go up against the leaders and the people that keep wearing that damn mask.
Yeah.
Those are the two people we have to worry about. So in essence, if you actually look into history, you actually see that this is something that they understand incrementalism. And I'm afraid that now with this juice that's been widely spread out, I mean, no human testing, no animal testing. They're literally first, type of, I don't want to say it on here, but the first type of juice that's ever been put out to market. It's supposed to build its own proteins, right? And claiming that it's going to fight, right? But if you actually look at a lot of other ways of how you build protein, also in the brain, there's a chance that you can have mad cow disease. Now, that's actually a neurological effect. We're starting to see a lot of people having neurological problems. So I'm sitting back and I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, this juice has been manufactured very fast. And we all know about those side effects that come up, call 1-800 for, if you got, damaged by, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, there's going to be side effects. We've seen the side effects. Now they're doing it wide, like everybody's getting it now. So there's going to be a huge step in which they're going to be like, oh, there's side effects, but how they get around it, because they can't say it's a side effect. It's going to be another wave. I truly believe that they're going to disguise the side effects as a new wave. And then people are going to be like, look, people are getting sick. It's a new wave. Time to lock back down. But really, it's the side effects of the juice that they have to cover up.
Then you need a booster. I remember hearing that. It's like, oh, it lasts for X amount of months, and then you need your booster, which is exactly why those cards, the passports, why that is such a threat. Because it's like, oh yeah, you all have your passports now. Everybody's feeling nice and fuzzy, but they could just revoke that. It's not like they couldn't just revoke it later and be like, oh, did you get your booster every 3 months? You can't sue if you have any adverse effects booster every 3 months for the rest of your life. Yeah, it's. The thing that I find so mind-blowing about it all too is that it's like how many like American Greed episodes and how many documentaries have we seen in the past of like Pfizer doing really horrible things and XYZ company doing very horrible things and being very manipulative and making $10 billion doing something horrible and then getting fined by the government the amount that they made in 1 month or whatever. Meanwhile, the human suffering is off the charts. There's been whistleblowers inside these companies for however long that have said this was bad and this was bad and this was bad. And then on top of it, I think it was Reagan that passed that act or whatever that says that you can't sue them. So it's like this is a very real thing that's happening in real time, and people are cheering for it. What a tragic event. What a tragic among many events. And if people were more proactive even before all of this stuff happened, then maybe even that could have been prevented. But it's yet another example of like the more that we just allow them to take, the further it's going to keep going.
And people, they hear the liability protection and they kind of understand, but they kind of don't. I've lived it. I have a family member that passed away due to a juice. You see what I'm
Really?
saying? Yeah. So like I know how it is. They pay you out the whole nine. There's like a whole little secret fund that you got to go to court and then you can't really sue them. Then they go through the legal process and then they end up just breaking you a couple bones and calling it a day, like over a death. I've experienced it. Okay. I know exactly what the liability protection is.
Yeah. No, it's like. It's the thing that I kind of equate it to is have you ever been in a really bad situation with a business that almost seemed like an unsurmountable thing? Like, for example, I had Comcast. I had a guy come here and set up Comcast in my house, and he ended up plugging the wrong thing into the wrong thing, and my internet cut out every day for months. And it ended up being an error of one of their technicians, but I had bad service for months. And I called their support line and then the next support line, and I just refused to stop, to the point where I think I wrote a letter to corporate or talked to the corporate office. I was like, I want to talk to the person about you. And they're like, no, this is literally the last person. And they ended up comping me like 4 months of cable service. And it was just because I wouldn't shut up. I wouldn't stop. And I was like, listen, I will call this fucking office for the rest of my life. Like, I literally said shit like that to them. Comcast, like, don't even start on Comcast. But it's a lesson. It's a lesson of that is the only way about all of this stuff. It's just like eventually the loudness is too much to bear, and all of these things will only happen as a result of that, because all the people that have all these radical policies, these progressive policies, these super left insane policies, they're really good at making noise. These psychos are really, really good at making noise and stirring things up and boycotting things and smearing people. That is a tactic that they are very good at. And it's just like, if we have to, I'm not saying that we do that. I'm not saying that we stoop to their level, but at the same time, unless we're talking about it constantly and never relenting, it's just like the tug of war. It's an endless game of tug of war. And if we're not pulling in the other direction, we're sliding in their direction. I really feel like there is no escape. It's a perpetual, never ending about everything from the juice to guns to every single bill, one by one, every single thing. It's like relenting is never an option. You got to go to the gym every day. That's the only option. And that's why these conversations, it's like we're never going to get to the end.
I just remembered the one video that you made had me dying. What one was it? When you went to a restaurant and you tried to go sit down to eat, there was nobody there.
Yeah.
I told you to make a reservation on the phone while you were currently still there.
Yep.
That had me dead. Oh, I cried. I cried so hard.
That was in Vegas. Yeah, I was in Vegas. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And they're like, no, yeah, you got to make a reservation. And I'm just like, no, when I called, they're just like, what's the number for what time you want to come in? I'm like, right now, you idiot. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm here. Like, I see you. Like, I can see you with my eyes. Like, you can hear my voice And I don't know. But apparently that was for the contact tracing of having my phone number. And I was just like, this is the dumb. And it was so funny. This couple comes in and sits down, and they got the diaper, and they're sitting there like with the drinks, and the guy's got the diaper on, and the chick is just drinking the drink, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, whose man is this? Like, what are you guys doing? You guys just came in together. And the tables are 100 yards away from each other.
Yeah,
That's
like
what
other restaurants do now. They're always spaced out super far, so there's no one to be with, and then he has a mask on while she doesn't.
Yeah, I'm looking at this girl, and I'm just like, you better get back on, get on Bumble or something, or like reconsider this fella. I don't know. Just the whole scene of it. And the other thing too that I've been hearing a lot lately is that it's like, it's not even just people. It's beyond all of this. These people are afraid. It's like people are sitting in their car alone with a diaper on because of fear and because of these conversations not being part of their life. It's like, imagine the human suffering that's coming simply as a result of that. I remember sitting here on my computer back in March, and I remember looking at this thing that was like 3.2 million people are gonna die, and I was just like, holy hell. And I'm just like, well, everybody in fucking Africa's gonna die. Like, there's countries where you shit in a hole, like in India. Like, it's like, these people don't have the same access to running water and sanitary sprays and all of these other things, and ordering Uber Eats from the crib. What are they gonna do? And I was like, is the whole world about to just die right now? Like, this is insanity. And then as it continued to progress, I'm like, well, wait a second. Well, why did all those people not die? I don't understand how this, like, it doesn't make sense. And the fear that I remember having, because because I never saw something like this, it's like, I can't imagine somebody that's 73 years old that has been watching CNN their whole life, that thinks that the news media is true, the level of fear that they probably have even to this day, that they can't go and see people. It's like, this is beyond, well, we can't do this and that. It's like pure fear. And we all know that disease and poor health comes as a result of people being in a state of fear. So it's like, this is human suffering in mass, and it's so much farther beyond even, well, we can't go to the store without a diaper. It's just like literal, actual human suffering, and people not being able to get tuberculosis screenings and cancer screenings and any other variety of things. Like, this is like seriously bad. And I think that one of the biggest poisons that would be a simple way to convince the people in your social circle to like start coming into the light, so to speak, is like, just stop watching the news. Like, literally stop watching the news. Don't read the newspaper. Use fucking YouTube. And I've been trying to share that message with people, because I don't think the vast majority of people even understand how pervasive the media is in their mind without them even knowing. Oh, I'm just cooking dinner. Let me just put on the 8 o'clock news. Who cares? And they're just like, fear. It's like, and then the next day, when you're with your friend at the park or whatever, and you're with your diapers and you're in a cage because you're a slave, it's just like, did you hear that on the news? And it's just like, no, now there they go. It's like, it's already in your fucking brain. And another thing on top of that is, I used to smoke a ton of weed, and when I smoked weed, I would never dream ever. Never dream. I stopped smoking weed in July of last year, and now I dream about everything. And when I'm focused on the wrong shit during the day, it's in my dreams, banging around. No matter what, there's nothing I can do about it. And it's like, that to me is yet another indicator from nature to me how pervasive what we consume is in our subconscious, beyond our control. I'm in my dream. I want to dream about naked women and flying in a cloud and eating churros at the beach. But instead, I'm thinking about this negative thing that I might have thought about today, or whatever thing happened to me. Here it is, cooking through my mind in my subconscious. And I think that that's something that many people fail to realize when they simply consume CNN for 30 minutes a day, or that disposition to the world. It's like, these things are affecting us beyond what we can even understand. And simply doing something like, hey, don't drink soda. It's like, you take one piece out, and it's like, all right, this isn't going to do anything. If you stop drinking soda, you get a lot healthier. If you stop drinking that 30 minutes of CNN, or stop reading that newspaper and consume something different in that time frame, even if it's a podcast that's not the news or something like this, how that could ripple through all of your thought processes and the conversations that you have. And like, to me, that's the game changer. That's the world changer that many of us don't even realize the importance of. When you're sitting with somebody bullshitting about something, if you bring this up, hey, what do you think about this? You both can get better. And that's how all this stuff changes. It's not just like us plowing down the street on Saturday only. It's like constantly being in our psyche and being in the conversation.
Just like the using that, actually having that idea that every time when I drive down the street, go to the grocery store, go to work, well, instead of music, why don't I play a podcast? Or
Exactly.
why don't I buy a book off Audible and listen to a book on Audible? Maybe let's finish a book this week. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? I do that too. And overall, which I am bad at, sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I gotta watch some type of news just to see how
Yeah.
are they twisting this lie, one, and two, what the heck's going on, right? Usually when I wake up and I drink a cup of coffee. But yeah, like you said, it's just that willingness to saying just turn it off. Because I've realized that when I listen to podcasts or I listen to books in my car, it makes me a lot more level-headed than listening to music. And that's just a waste of time. Going back and forth from work, 30 minutes to work, 30 minutes back, that's an hour of your time. Hour of your time that you wasted. And it could have been
Yep.
a lot more productive, just like how you're saying right now. So with that being said, I really think that moving forward on kind of social standpoint, we should really encourage each other in our local areas, to know all the people that have been a part of this movement in your little local area, getting to know them, know who they are, set Telegram groups, get phone numbers, really sit back and say, do we want this for our future? You know what I mean? Like, do we
Yeah.
really want this for our country, for our kids? Because I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page. We don't want the direction it's heading. And let's focus on 2022 and what we can do as people right here, right now. Because you've seen the power of people literally going all over the place in Southern California. I've met these people. I feel I consider them brothers and sisters. Like I've grown really strong with these people. And I'm just thinking in my mind, like, what if that was every state? What if that was every
Right.
state? The movement, the people in Southern California that have done this, what they've done, we've challenged the election. Not challenged the election, but we've had the perspective that California's red. People have seen it, the recall, the push, just everything overall and whole. And I know how hard they've worked and what it takes. And I'm just encouraging every time that I come on is for everybody else to do that in the local city. Literally,
Yep.
that's all they have to do in the local city. And that way we beat it. It's over and done with. Because all we need is a 45 as a governor, or a 45 as a state assemblyman, a 45 as a council, a mayor that says, no, screw you. And then that's it. And then the facade's over. Like, just like with you in Florida, you're a governor. He said, screw you. Everybody in Florida loves it. It's
Yeah.
over and done with. Florida's already done. Now we need this for California. We need this for Texas. We need this for North Carolina, and literally do the job yourself. If they can't do it for you, replace them. And
Yeah.
that's what we need right now. And then that's the cavalry, so that when he does go in 2024, because I don't believe that we can ever think about 2024 unless we fix what happened in 2022, right? But at least we're in a position to do something for when he does come back.
Yep.
That's the only way we're going to face these diapers. It's the only way we're going to fix this juice problem. That's the only way we're going to do it. And if we don't do that, then, what else are we doing at this point? You can just go ahead and kiss your country goodbye.
Right, exactly. No, and see, the thing too about is like in Florida, there's no mandate, and there's all of these. It's probably objectively one of the freest places. However, a hockey game is at a fractional capacity. There's still diapers at the hockey game. There's diapers at the grocery store. All the businesses make you wear a diaper. At my gym they have a steam room or a sauna. I forget. I think it's a sauna. And I can't go in the sauna. Your biggest organ is your skin. A lot of the toxins in your body come out through your skin. This sauna I haven't been able to use for a year and whatever months. By the county. The county says no showers, which is fucking insane just in and of itself. A shower, you mean like a huge sink, like a single person, gigantic? Okay, that seems fine. But it's like that's the county government, and DeSantis. it's not going to say all the gyms must open their steam like saunas. It's like that's our county. So that's right here in my local area in Florida, in the freest place supposedly, and this shit is still going on. And I'm like, well, what's the end of this? So it just further solidifies the point that you've been making, which is like, do I even know who my county represents? Do I even know who the overlord is that even made this rule? No. And the vast majority of people don't have a clue who that is. And it's like, if you don't even know, then you certainly aren't going to be able to change their mind. So that has to be a task that all of us kind of have to take on, unfortunately.
And I've looked at it, and I'm telling you right now, I've looked into it. They are the people that you would never want to hang out with in high school or college.
Yeah, for sure.
I swear to you, like I swear to you, you look at them and it's like I would have never even sat next to you at the lunch table. Like you're the people that got mad because we played sports. You're the person that got mad because she was a cheerleader or something. You're literally the people that I've seen this entire time just in life that I did not like. And not because you're not a bad person, but because you just have this sole purpose of just wanting to be involved and control things, and you feel self-conscious about yourself, so you try to do some type of, because again, think about it this way, people like us, we don't want to run nothing. We really don't. We just want to live our lives. I want to live my life, to be honest with you. I just want to live my life. You know what I mean? Like, I really just want to live my life. In my mind, controlling people is like the last thing on my list.
Exactly.
That's the last thing on my list. So I'm sitting back and I'm like, okay, it makes sense, because people that are, usually people that, are like serial killers, they want to become doctors or a place and position, or like, law enforcement, right? Because they want to be in a position to where they can do what they want. It's like with, predators, child predators. They want to go into teaching and stuff like that. Control freaks love places of politics. And so I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, and the health professional that's a trans, whatever, he, she, all them, they, look at her. I mean, she, he, she, they, them, all them. It looks like your history teacher in 8th grade trying to teach you about history, and you're too busy worrying about her Jerry curl and her big nose looking like the witch from that one show, I forget, the three witches from Halloween. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She looks like the girl in the middle, you know what I mean? And it's just like, so it's like I'm staring and I'm looking at it, I'm like, these are the people we're up against, and we don't have enough good men and women to actually just replace them. Like, this is what we're up against. These people. People. Like, you've got to be Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's even generous. Mrs. Doubtfire is kind of sharp in comparison.
Hocus Pocus. Yes, that's what it was. Looked like the middle girl from Hocus Pocus, the main witch. Yep, looks exactly like her, 110%.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, we can't replace them. Like, that's really what we're up against. Like, that's sickening. And you look at their social media profiles, and they got like, no offense to people that have like 50 followers, but like 50 followers, and it's like, okay, like, how do they win public office, And they're sitting here smiling with the mask on in City Hall, smiling like, yeah, look at, I'm wearing the mask. Some of them have 2 masks on. I'm just like, oh.
Because in a lot of ways, it's like a cult, where it's like all you have to do is toe the line, and you can be here forever. You can be Joe Biden. All you got to do is start start in this position, and then be a senator, and then be a governor, and then be a vice president, and then be the president, and you can make $15 million getting paid $173,000 a year somehow. And they all understand that, and they understand that all you have to do is toe the line. I use this example often because I think to me it makes the most sense. If you get cast on SNL, for example, you go from SNL, from a partial cast member, then you become a cast member. After you're a cast member, you get a TV show on CNBC, or a feature on CNBC, or on NBC, a daytime or a nighttime show. Then maybe you get your own nighttime show. Then eventually you go and you get movies, and then after movies, then you get a position you're on the Tonight Show. You're the new David Letterman. Just like, I mean, look at Seth Meyers, and look at and Jimmy, what's his name? It's a predictable path to success that it's just like, do this, Don't question the authority. Color between the lines. We're going to tee you up for a lifetime. Don't you want to be like these guys? Don't you want to be like Seth Meyers? Here's the path. Here's the golden path to success. If you can only just do these things. And the sad part is that these people are bought and paid for, and they're like, yeah, okay, like I'll take it. Oh, power. Oh, wealth. Oh, I'm on the team. I'm on the squad, and I'm insulated from everything. Oh, and every one of us gets away with everything now until forever. Historically, we dominate. Oh, and we're getting more power every single day, all the time. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, sign me up. I want to be on that team, because nobody wants to be fighting the power. So they're all just like bought and paid for. They have no loyalty to America. They're just playing between the lines. They're self-interested and they're greedy, and they're letting their greed take them into priority over all of the rest of the people in their country. And it's like, that's yet another reason why smaller government is better government. You take the benefits away. Yes. You stop centralizing the power. You don't give all this authority to those people, and less people like that would be in there. Less people that were motivated by greed would be in there if you remove the incentive to do so. Plus, that brings the power back to the people. It's like, unless people sound off about this, government is going to continue to grow and get even more bloated than it already is. Biden is already, it's like, this is bad. And I watched what's his guts the other day, John Oliver, do this thing about the debt, or about the deficit, and he's like, most economists don't even know what's going on. It's fine, we'll be fine. I'm like, yo, fuck you guys. Like, this guy's a corporate paid for shill. Like, this dude doesn't even. You're gonna come on here and say that the economists just don't even know what's going on? The expert, like, how? What a lie! It's just like. Oh, so we could just print. Then why don't we just print $500 trillion and nobody works ever again? Like, are you out of your mind? And it's just like, that's the type of stuff where people watch that and don't question it, just the same way that they watch the news and don't question it. And that's why we're in this. It's because people are consuming that and like, all right, I consume my news for the day. There's no outside opinion. It's not like you and I we'll watch something that's on the left just to see what bullshit they're peddling that day, and then go do our own independent research on podcasts and YouTube and other things like live streams. Nobody has that. People don't have that depth of understanding or that desire, and that's why we keep losing stuff. And it's like, just like you said before, if there was ever a time to speak up, while we're all wearing diapers and being locked at home, seems like the only time, it's like, if not now, then we would never be able to convince people if we weren't locked up.
Yeah, no, let's wait until the passports are rolled out and now it's mandatory. Now we'll talk about it. Meanwhile, half of the country's already vaxxed. You know what I mean? And then like the other half, like you got to, and it's mandatory. Now we'll talk about it. It's a little too late. It's a little too late now. I think we're at a certain point where, we need to do something right now. And that's really what my message is. Politics ruin friendships. Yeah, that's very true too. I've lost friends too, and 2 exes too over this stuff. This is wild. And old friends. Have you lost any friends?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that I noticed people that act differently, maybe because they have some preconceived notion about me or what I believe in, and I can't be reasoned with. They're not going to even take the time to talk to me about it. So it's not like there's been this direct conversation, then some blow up, and then, all right, we're not friends anymore. But I think that a lot of people have started, they took the last 10 years of knowing who I am as a person and all of the great things that made us friends to begin with, and then they see this and they're like, oh, he must be this now, or he's one of those red hat Donnie support, oh, he's a X, Y, or Z. And it's like, the thing that I think about it is that I'm probably better off without you in the first place, as much as I hate to admit it. It's like, I would never not be friends with somebody because the way that they saw the world. What I would be curious is to really discuss it with them so that I could maybe learn. Maybe they're right. Maybe they could convince me otherwise. I mean, isn't that the point? It's like how you could just be like, well, nah, like you're lost cause, I'm going to block you or I'm never going to talk to you again. It's like, well, then you just believe that no one else could be right but you. And I don't believe that. I want people to challenge me. I want to have those conversations. I think that that's how we get better. And that's why I always say, it's like, you want to change the world, it's conversations. So I think that that's counterproductive to evolution, to just cut people out. And when I see people say that, where it's like politics breaks up friendships, well, at the same time, it's also kind of a necessary component that if we are afraid to talk about it with people, if we're afraid to speak up, that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. I mean, better lost than never at all, because at the same time you still make new friends. But I see that that's a common theme that keeps going on in the comments, so I thought I'd bring that up. But
Yeah.
yeah. So other words, this is a shit show. We're in the shit world, and we all got to sit lay in the shit together. So let's just bathe in the shit together. How about that?
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate your time, man, and I think we should definitely do this again. I think this was a productive conversation. I think definitely some people got some value out of this. Do you have any final thoughts before we jump off?
Well, yeah, no, I like I said when you went on that live with Nino, and I think Nino is a really good, really good guy. And I don't know him personally, obviously, but I like that you guys had two different sides to talk about it, because the problem is that these conversations need to be had for us to move forward. And for the most part, something might be going on, but at the end of the day, there could be misinformation, disinformation. We never know. But all we could do is value on what we know now. And currently, what we know now is that we're in a shit show with Joey the Basement pushing juice and what we control. And that's why when you said that on the live, that's why I resonated with it. He said, "But what are we going to do right now, though? Like, regardless of all that, that's cool, that's great. I hope so. That's what I've been saying. I hope so too. But what the heck are we going to do right now?" And that's been my message ever since. So that's why I resonated with it. So I'm glad that you had me on. I appreciate everybody last one that are on here. If you guys are in California, please help out the effort, because we got a lot of more events coming up, and we got to keep it going here in California. And for everybody on here that's in different states, please take a look at your own states and do what you got to do. And 2022 is around the corner. Get on top of it. And if you guys don't know, my name's Kick. I got a podcast called You Ain't Black, because Joe Biden said I'm not black if I don't vote for him. So I made a podcast just for him.
Nice.
It's on YouTube. It's called You Ain't Black. Hit me up for that. And yeah, it's great being on, and I love all you guys on here that watched it, because I hope you guys got some value out of this, because everybody's talking about. I know the news is going so fast. We got so much information with the news. I know I'm going on Jag, but the news moves so fast. Social media moves so fast. You go on and you're looking at the news and your social media feed, and just stuff's going in. And I know it's all funny. It's cute that Joey the Basement's stumbling and mumbling, but it's not really funny.
Right.
We have to be serious. You know what I mean? And we got to seriously have the general aspect of what is the outcome, what is the game plan. And right now, unless we're not talking about 2022, nothing else is it. So let's start talking about 2022. Let's start getting in our local cities and states, find out who the good guys are, find out who the bad guys are, remove them if they have to, support the ones you have to, get the people in there that need to be put in, run yourself if you need to. I don't know, just get the job done, because we're in a shit show together, so we all got to do our part.
I agree with that 100%, man. I like that message. I like the take action for what's in front of us right now. I think that's a lot of the missing message right now. So I appreciate that you do that. And
it's
and
so
awesome.
so much information's coming out. It's time to get right back to the ball.
100%. Well, dude, it was nice meeting you. Thanks so much for the chat, and I appreciate it. And let's chat again soon. I'm gonna have to get on You Ain't Black.
Yeah, for anybody on here, if you guys want to, they're saying talkie. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, it's me, Mega Hulk. We try to be as funny as possible doing the daily news. We're not as funny as this guy, though. I'll let you know that right now. We're not as that funny, but we are funny. It's not this much funny. So if you guys want to tone down your funniness and just like kind of be like chuckle, come on to You Ain't Black YouTube channel. Links in my bio.
All right, man. Yo, thanks so much, dude. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
No problem. No problem, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yo, so thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here for the chat. That was awesome. Very much enjoyed that. Smart dude, has the right mindset. Certainly has the right target. We got to focus on what's going on right in front of us. There's really, I really just don't see another path than that. So, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you to the people that bought the badges. Chi8, thank you so much. Dinara, thank you so much. Boop's Partner, thank you so much. Brit Seawolf, thank you so much. Jennifer Lynn 4221 and OKC Bart, thank you guys so much. Hey, I appreciate you being here. I had this whole list of like 100 topics that I want to talk about today, because there's so much insanity, absolutely insane, the most insane stuff of all time happening So I was like, I couldn't even figure out which ones to target in my video for the day. So I'm about to go to the gym, and I think I might jump back on here late night and just do another jam. So look out for me maybe around the 11 o'clock. So maybe probably about maybe an hour and a half from now, I might jump on back on here and do a little bit of yelling, do a bit of somersaulting, and just yell at the moon, because I've got like 50 or 60 items in my email that I'm just like, this is so nuts. So don't quote me on it, but keep an eye out. Check my story in a little bit. So I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Go follow Kick if you don't follow him already. And I will save this live. I'll post it on my Facebook. I'll post it up on the YouTubes and whatnot. And as always, thanks guys for being here. See you later.